Welcome to the Private and Public School F1 Exchange Program, Returning Trimester Host Family Orientation. In this training, we'll be covering important information and reminders that will promote your success as a returning host family for our trimester program. We will emphasize the importance of communicating with your local coordinator throughout the hosting process. Your local coordinator is well versed regarding the most updated policies and procedures and is a great resource to you. Moreover, if you have any information to share or questions to ask, you should always contact your local coordinator first. As you're completing this training, you may press the pause button at any time in order to catch up on notes that you're taking or to review information. Let's get started. First and foremost, we want to welcome you back and thank you for hosting again with PSE. We appreciate all of our host families, and we're very grateful for our returning families' dedication to hosting again. As always, we're here to support you, answer any questions you have, and address any issues that may arise during your hosting experience. In this training, we're going to review the most important information with regards to the topics listed on this slide. We have revised and condensed this training from the original trimester program host family orientation so that you receive the most updated information and reminders relevant to you as a returning host family. Depending on the status of the COVID-19 global pandemic at the time of the program, students have been informed that some or all classes may be taught online. Full participation and completion of all assignments is mandatory. Participation in sports and extracurricular activities is not guaranteed. Requests to travel may be unexpectedly denied or canceled. Students are required to follow all protocols put in place by their host families, local and federal governments, and the CDC, such as wearing masks in public places, avoiding large gatherings of people, quarantining for a minimum of 14 days if exhibiting symptoms or exposed to COVID-19, and so forth. A 14-day self-quarantine may be required upon your student's arrival. If so, students have been asked to adhere to the following CDC guidelines. Take your temperature with a thermometer 2 times a day and monitor for fever. Also, watch for cough or trouble breathing. Stay at your host family's home and avoid contact with others. Do not take public transportation, taxis, or ride shares. Keep your distance from others, about 6 feet or 2 meters. Also, please inform your local coordinator immediately if your student has an elevated temperature or exhibits any symptoms of COVID-19, for example, a persistent cough or trouble breathing. Students and host families should protect themselves and others from contracting COVID-19 by following these guidelines. Wash your hands often. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay at least 6 feet, about 2 arms length from other people. Do not gather in groups and stay out of crowded places. Wear a cloth face cover or mask when you go out in public, for example, when going to grocery stores, shops, or other places. Cover your mouth and nose with a tissue when you cough or sneeze, or use the inside of your elbow, then immediately wash your hands. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces daily, including your phone, keyboard, desks, doorknobs, and light switches. Here is an infographic designed and distributed by the Center for Disease Control, which details the guidelines outlined in the previous slide. Please press the pause button to review this information in more detail. We would like to point out a few features within your host family account. First, the Resources link will take you to helpful reference materials and important forms, for example, the PSE travel documents and forms. Second, to view your host family application, click on the application link and then click on See Your Host Family Application. Your application should pop up, and from there you can view its information. If any updates need to be made to your host family application, such as someone moving in or out of the home, then please notify your local coordinator as soon as possible. Also, to view your student's application, make sure the program start date is set correctly, for example, August 2020, and then click on your student's name. Again, host family applications need to be updated annually. However, if any household circumstances change throughout the year, then you will need to contact your local coordinator immediately. Some examples are if you want to host another exchange student, someone else moves into or out of your home, either temporarily or permanently, someone who was established as a member of your household moves out of your home, you move to another residence, there's a loss of employment, criminal charges, or new contact information. Again, if any updates need to be made, then please notify your local coordinator as soon as possible. In the Trimester program, students audit classes. However, they need to attend all classes and submit all required assignments. If your student is not adhering to these requirements, let your local coordinator know immediately. In this program, cultural immersion is as important as academics. Therefore, the host family and student will need to brainstorm and agree upon at least 2 cultural sightseeing activities in or near their community. These cultural expectations should also be documented in the expectations worksheet. Here are several reminders regarding student arrival. You will receive an email from PSE with the student's flight details. Please confirm the flight number and flight information online. Also, confirm the time and day of flight arrival. If you have any questions about the flight details or arrival airport, please contact your local coordinator immediately. Remember to arrive at the airport early to avoid any unforeseen delays. Also, arrange a meeting place with your student in advance. Host families are expected to greet students at the airport. Remember to make a banner or sign with their name on it. Don't rely on photos to recognize them because they may have changed and look different. When you have located your student, contact your local coordinator. If you're unable to locate your student, then request an airport page and alert your local coordinator. If you're still unable to locate them, contact our 24-hour emergency number at 877-222-9803. If your student is under the age of 16, they may be flying as an unaccompanied minor. In this case, you will need to go through security to meet them at the arrival gate, so remember to bring your ID. Here are several reminders to help your students settle in. If your student is new to the area, please make sure to familiarize them with your home, neighborhood, nearby shopping areas, and school. Review the community, public transportation, and places such as the nearest ATM. Most importantly, within the first week after student arrival, sit down with your student and complete the expectations worksheet together. As you know, completing this worksheet is essential to preventing any misunderstandings and miscommunication from occurring. Additionally, remember that some students experience stress and culture shock upon arrival. Do not panic. Instead, let your local coordinator know if your student is exhibiting any of these signs of culture shock: eating poorly, withdrawing, or not communicating. Now, we're going to review several important reminders regarding communication. If your student is new and their English is not well developed, then be sure to speak slowly and clearly. Communicate openly and set expectations from the start. Engage your student by asking them questions about themselves, school, and how they're adjusting to life in their new community. Continue to foster an environment where open communication is encouraged. This is part of the cultural immersion process. Remind your student that if they have any issues, then they should always talk to you or their local coordinator instead of communicating with the sending agency. Reassure them that we're here to support them. Most importantly, please remember that all communication should go through the PSE office. In other words, please do not contact the natural parents directly. Instead, make sure to contact your local coordinator with any questions or concerns. The local coordinator will communicate with the PSE office to relay any information to the overseas partner agency. If the natural parents contact you directly, then alert your local coordinator right away before responding. Remember to always contact your local coordinator if you have any questions or concerns. As a reminder, host families are required to provide a legitimate bedroom with a bed, closet, window, and dresser, a quiet study space, 3 meals per day, secured transportation to and from school and some extracurricular activities, and a safe and caring environment. In order to effectively integrate your student into your family, it's important to communicate openly with your student. Be patient while helping them integrate, and set and clearly communicate expectations from the start. Now, we're going to review some very important reminders with regards to expectations. You should familiarize your student with your established house rules. Some examples are when dinner is served, what the rules are for helping oneself to food, how laundry is handled, and what time curfew is. Families that expect students to learn by watching the actions of their own children will often be disappointed. We recommend that you write down these particular expectations and post them somewhere to serve as a reminder. The expectations worksheet needs to be completed and submitted for all new and returning students. Again, be sure to complete the worksheet within the first week of student arrival. No attempt should ever be made to change your students' religious beliefs. Religion as part of cultural exposure is fine. However, no life-changing decisions should be made while on the program, including converting to another religion. You may ask your student to attend church, synagogue, or temple services with you occasionally. However, they should not be required to attend regularly if they do not wish to. Host families and their students are required to plan at least 2 sightseeing activities to support the cultural immersion experience. Regarding transportation, host families are responsible for providing transportation to and from school and some extracurricular and social activities. Help your student understand other available methods of transportation for when you are unable to provide it, for example, public transit, carpool, and riding a bike. The main difference between the long-term program and the trimester short-term program is that typically the trimester students want to engage with their host families. They're more interested in learning about the American culture, family life, and life in America. The students are required to attend class daily, hand in assignments, and participate in class. However, this program offers a balance between the academic focus and cultural immersion. Therefore, we encourage our trimester host families to spend time with their students and to engage and involve them in family activities. Treat your student as part of your family and create lasting memories for everyone. Also, encourage your student to partake in extracurricular activities in school so that they get a good feel for American life. Again, the host family should arrange at least 2 cultural sightseeing activities with their student in or near their community. These may be group activities with other students and families or an individual activity with the student. If travel to a nearby city or place of interest takes place, the student is responsible for covering associated costs. You, the host family, should discuss options and brainstorm ideas with your student and decide on the activities together. These will be noted in both the expectations worksheet and progress report. Here are some examples of excursions to places of interest. Taking a day trip to visit a large city nearby, visiting a cultural or historical heritage marker, visiting a national park nearby, visiting an amusement park nearby, visiting a museum such as a science or art museum, or attending a local art festival. As a reminder, please refer to the PSC rules and regulations in the Host Family Handbook. Here are several important student rules which are included in the PSC Terms of Participation. Students are expected to be respectful and represent themselves in an honorable and mature manner at all times. Engage in a limited and reasonable amount of non-academic technology use per day. Obey all U.S. laws, including no shoplifting, use of weapons, tobacco, alcohol, or drug use. Not drive or operate any motorized vehicle. Not date or engage in sexual activity. Adjust to their host family life and spend time with their host family while following house rules. Be proactive in arranging transportation to see friends or attend extracurricular activities. Submit the permission to travel form at least 2 weeks prior to the desired travel. And attend school and classes daily and be on time. As you are well aware, resolving conflicts is critical for a positive host family and student experience. Good communication between the student and host family is essential, and fostering open communication will help prevent situations of conflict. Remember that your student comes from a different culture and their communication style may be different from yours. For example, our German students are typically more direct in their communication style. Therefore, it might appear that they're responding in a disrespectful manner, when in fact their bluntness is completely normal to them and not meant to be offensive. It's important to gather all the facts and information before forming any opinion. Things are not always as they seem. Avoid using blaming language when discussing the problem. Here are the steps for conflict resolution. First, inform your local coordinator of the situation. Then, try to resolve conflicts. Your LC will be able to provide mediation if necessary. Lastly, inform your LC again for any additional support that may be needed. Conflict resolution is important. Every attempt possible should be made to mediate and resolve the conflicts that are occurring. If the student has a behavior issue, your LC will facilitate the mediation process with the support of the regional manager and PSC office. The student will be clearly advised of what behavioral changes are necessary to successfully continue their homestay experience. In most cases, disciplinary documentation will be provided to the student by the local coordinator. Here are important reminders with regards to money. Students arrive with their own spending money. They're required to have a minimum of $250 at all times and an additional $500 for emergency purposes. Students may also have access to funds through a debit or credit card linked to a bank account in their home country. Students and their host families should never borrow money from each other, as money misunderstandings can create distrust in student and host family relationships. Students should keep receipts for all purchases they make while on the program. Storing the receipts in an envelope is a best practice. As a reminder, the student is responsible for all personal expenses, including additional meals outside of the 3 meals a day provided by the host family. For example, buying lunch at school and special foods outside of the host family's normal selection. Entertainment such as movies, snacks, sports events, and restaurant meals. Any costs associated with travel activities or excursions. Personal items such as toothpaste, shampoo, makeup, and deodorant. All clothing, including winter jackets. School expenses such as books, class fees, yearbooks, sports, and special events. Co-pays at the time of medical visits and any additional medical bills incurred. Miscellaneous purchases such as tutoring costs or cell phone bills. Another important reminder is that host families are not allowed to co-sign on a student's cell phone plan or add that student to an existing family plan. There are no exceptions to this rule. Please contact your local coordinator with any issues related to money or student expenses. Now, we'll review important information regarding the host family stipend. For each year that a host family hosts, PSC needs to collect an updated W-9, direct deposit form, and voided check. Please send these completed forms to the PSC office via email, fax, or mail to the contact information on the screen. Again, you may pause the video to capture this information. Also, as a reminder, please do not discuss the stipend directly with your student or with other host families. Now, let's review important information regarding student travel. Permission to travel requests should be submitted if one or more of the following apply. The student is traveling by air. The length of the trip is more than 72 hours. International travel, which includes travel to Mexico and Canada. Unaccompanied travel, travel with someone other than the host family, or if the student will miss school. Let's review the process for approval. The travel form needs to be submitted at least 2 weeks prior to the intended travel. If student will miss school, they need to receive a school official signature. The PSC office will verify approval with the host family, sending agency, and the natural parents. Once processed, the PSC office will notify the local coordinator, the host family, and the student. Please remember that your student should not be allowed to travel until you have received confirmation of approval from PSC. If travel plans change, inform your local coordinator immediately. Trimester students are eligible to participate in the optional student trips which are offered by our sister company, Education, Travel, and Culture. Participation requires an additional fee, and eligibility depends on timing and the student's academic and behavioral status. With regards to student health insurance, some students will come with their own health insurance and have their own insurance information. If they do receive PSE insurance, they'll be emailed a copy of their insurance card prior to arrival. Host families should make a copy of their insurance card to keep with them. PSE insurance generally does not cover pre-existing conditions, wellness care, immunizations, school physicals, dental or orthodontic care, or eye treatment with the exception of dental or eye emergencies. Students should have $500 to set aside for medical emergencies. Students should ensure to pay their copays at the time of their visit and their bills upon receipt. Open the bills with your student to review with them. Students need to be sure to complete and return the questionnaire sent from the insurance company quickly in order for claims to be processed. Here are a few important reminders regarding visits to the emergency room. Students should not use an emergency room in the United States unless their illness or injury is serious or life-threatening. Here are some examples of life-threatening situations: head injuries, chest pain, loss of consciousness, life-threatening situations, difficulty breathing, or seizures. In addition, if you choose to use an emergency room, students will be charged up to $350 in addition to any applicable deductible or coinsurance required by their plan. If your student visits a doctor or clinic for any reason, please inform your local coordinator, and for any questions or if payments are not made, please contact your local coordinator immediately. Now, let's review the procedure for contacting PSC regarding any questions or issues that arise. Your first point of contact is always your local coordinator. If your local coordinator is not available, then contact your regional manager. Finally, if you can't reach either, then call the 24-hour PSC phone number at 877-222-9803. This contact information is located on the student's PSC ID card. Host families should assist in the timely completion of the student progress report, which is completed approximately 1 month after student arrival. Please set aside a few minutes to discuss with your LC how things are going with your student. This is a great time to update your LC on any issues, improvements, or upcoming plans. You will be asked what 2 cultural sightseeing activities that the student and you plan on doing together and when. When describing student progress, please be honest. It's much easier to get assistance with a small problem now than have them help you mediate a larger problem later. Please remember to notify your local coordinator immediately if a problem arises so that they can offer mediation promptly. Here are some ideas on how to minimize the opportunity of sexual abuse. Understand that abusers often become friendly with potential victims and their families, enjoying family activities, earning trust, and gaining time alone with children. Choose group situations when possible, and make sure that multiple adults are present who can supervise. If you eliminate or reduce one adult to one child situations, you'll dramatically lower the risk of sexual abuse to that child. Set an example by personally avoiding one adult to one child situations with children other than your own. Drop in unexpectedly when the child is alone with any adult, even trusted family members. PSC policy states that if any allegation of abuse is reported, regardless of the circumstances, the student will need to be relocated immediately. Once the sexual abuse or allegation has been reported, PSC will provide the appropriate support to the student via local law enforcement and Child Protective Service agencies. Now, we'll review some important information regarding emergency procedures. For accident or illness, for serious medical emergencies, contact the PSC office 24-hour emergency number immediately at 877-222-9803. Host families and local coordinators are instructed to always seek medical attention for the student when needed. The student's insurance card and medical release form should be presented to the medical provider to obtain treatment. Proceed with the doctor's advice for emergency treatment. The PSC office will communicate with the sending agency and the natural parents. With regards to smoking, drinking, and breaking the law, PSC prohibits smoking and the use or possession of drugs and alcohol. As a reminder, please do not serve students alcoholic beverages. If the student is discovered partaking in a severe infraction of the law, the host family or local coordinator should contact the PSC office immediately. Again, please ensure that the PSC office 24-hour emergency number is programmed into your phone for easy reference. Now, we'll review some important reminders for preparing students for the return to their home country. Make sure all outstanding bills are paid. Make sure the student has received a certificate of attendance from the school. If not, please contact your local coordinator. If they're flying as an unaccompanied minor, PSC will need the contact information of the person who will be taking them to the airport. That person will need to check in at the gate with the student and wait for them to depart. It is the host family's responsibility to arrange for transportation to the local or preferred airport. If you are not able to do this, then you will need to contact your local coordinator immediately. Our PSC staff is dedicated to providing you with outstanding service and support. Here is an updated list of our staff who work out of the corporate office in Portland, Oregon. Please ensure that our contact phone number, 877-222-9803, is saved in your phone for easy reference. Please check your email or contact your local coordinator to obtain the Returning Host Family Orientation sign-off sheet. Upon completion of this training, please print, sign, date, and email or hand deliver the form to your local coordinator. By completing this process, we will verify that you have completed this orientation. This concludes the PSC orientation for returning host families on the Trimester program. We hope that this training provided you with useful reminders of important information to help you have another successful hosting experience. Please remember that if you have any questions, contact your local coordinator. Again, thank you for hosting with PSC. We appreciate you.